To begin with, technology law, as we know or as we used to know a few years ago, comprised only of very limited legislations. If we talked about technology law, we had intellectual property, the different IP laws that we have, or we spoke of the Information Technology Act under cyber laws. But there was not really much room for navigating for lawyers, for law students, for academics as well. And over the past few years, especially with the rising concerns over data platforms or e-commerce services or over-the-top platform services, there are a host of them right at the moment. So you have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, even regional OTT services. So they all use different kinds of technology, and along with it comes up a lot of legal issues surrounding those technologies, because it is not just in India that you will get to see that the legal regulations are a touch behind the technological developments. Even in the most developed of the economies, you will see a lot of literature there coming up, where you will see that most of the existing incumbent legislations are not well equipped to deal with these challenges. What are those challenges? We'll of course discuss during the course of this presentation. But this slide is basically telling us about what is the emerging scope of technology. And depending on the skill set, the legal skill set that is expected from a lawyer or from policy researchers or other stakeholders, and the technology which is being used. Technology law, I believe, is a very wide term, and along with the traditional aspects like cyber laws and intellectual property law, for the convenience sake, what I have done, as you can see in the third and fourth point, I have divided technology law into two parts. The way we see it, one is substantive technology law, so where you have concepts like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and again cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, all these data protection, OTT platforms, other things. So substantive technology law means you have this set of technology being applicable in a certain set of circumstances, and what are the regulations that are supporting those technologies. So those things have clubbed into one category, which I am calling the substantive technology law. And of course, I'll explain in a little brief what those technologies are within this ambit. When I'm talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking of technologies which are being able to replicate human behavior and to achieve tasks in a very, very simple and efficient manner. Take for instance, technology software, an AI-enabled software, which can help in the manufacturing process, or which can help in creating further new intellectual property. Right. So if that is the case, if an AI-enabled software creates some further intellectual property, we know that especially under copyright laws, you have different kinds of work, literary, cinematographic, these things. Now, under ordinary circumstances, the creator of the work, the author of the work, they get the copyright. But can you attach or attribute separate legal personality to the artificial intelligence platform? That's a very key question surrounding IP laws and artificial intelligence, and it is still getting debated in many countries, especially in countries like China. So these are some of the issues that I see can be a part of substantive technology law. Similarly, if you take blockchain, which is nothing but a digital ledger, you want to keep your transactions secure. You want to make sure that these are not getting interrupted or not getting hacked. You put it on a digital ledger, which is basically a digital record keeping mechanism for all transactions, and then you implement smart contracts on them. So for example, this is very common in the music licensing industry. Earlier it wasn't the case, but now, let's say in the music licensing industry, you want to ensure that you deliver the content and you get paid, your royalties get paid on time. Ordinary contracts will require you, which were manually performed, to keep yourself in touch with the other side. Smart contracts will ensure that the contracts are self-executing. So you don't have to send repeated reminders. for the performance of obligations under the contract. You can quote it on a smart contract which works on a blockchain, and the contract will self-execute. So the question then arises, how far can smart contracts be integrated under the Indian Contract Act, which is a pre-independence legislation? So these are very, very pertinent questions from a substantive technology law point of view. Same goes for OTT platforms and data protection, because there are a lot of IP infringement cases coming up because of the over-the-top platforms. And all of a sudden, we are seeing a rise in copyright infringement cases, which are otherwise not that very common. Same goes for drone licensing as well. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has brought out some guidelines on drone licensing, but they are not very clear on commercial usage and other kinds of usage. So there's a lot of room for young lawyers, law students, even law schools as well, to do some research into this part. So this is the ambit of technology. So one aspect of technology. Then the other aspect is what I'm calling the transactional technology law, or you can also call it the procedural technology law, which is basically you are applying the technology in some areas of legal practice. They are not really substantive in nature, because we're talking about agreements, procedures, and transactions. Like for instance, these days, when one company does a due diligence on another company, they are opening up their data rooms which are virtual. So you have virtual data rooms, and the other side is free to come in and check the veracity, the authenticity of all the documents that you claim are true. Or you see an emergence of legal technology platforms or legal technology startups in India. For example, one such startup comes to mind that is known by the name of Legal Card. So basically what they do, they will help you to channelize all your documentation and processes into a very smooth and seamless process using AI-based system. So again, this is also an illustration of how technology is getting integrated into legal practice, but this is the transactional part of it. This is not the substantive part of it. So that's why, for the sake of the convenience of our audience, I have divided substantive and transaction. And in the later slides also, we'll see that how technology law, it is in a continuous evolving stage, and this is one niche area of law which you can say is altered not by just the legal developments but also the technological developments. Because when I'm talking about technology law, technology is always 10 steps ahead of legal development. The legal framework can almost never catch that pace. So it might be taking a little bit of time to catch up, but the good news is that India is slowly opening up to technology practices.